What if I told you that the rejection you face isn't a rejection of the act itself, but a mirror reflecting the man standing before her? Imagine for a moment that all your attempts at closeness, all your carefully chosen words, were actually silent screams, revealing an inner weakness you don't even realize, yet she senses it with a clarity that transcends language. Have you ever wondered why desire ignites in a woman's heart for a man who seems to put in zero effort, while the doors are slammed shut in the face of a man who offers every bit of politeness and care he possesses? The secret doesn't lie in luck, nor in the complexity of women, as common myths suggest, but in a timeless, stoic truth. We do not attract what we want, we attract what we are. The question every man must ask himself is not, how do I make her want me, but rather, am I a man worth wanting? The power you seek is not outside of you, but in that quiet space between your intention and your reaction. Are you ready to face the uncomfortable truth that your constant seeking of approval is exactly what makes you invisible? Stoic wisdom begins with the realization that human emotions, including desire, do not follow the laws of logic or persuasion. You cannot rationally convince a woman to be attracted to you, just as you cannot convince fire to be cold. Desire is an instinctive reaction to a specific energy, and when a man approaches with a spirit full of neediness or begging, he sends a signal of weakness that human nature instinctively repels. The great tragedy is that most men believe constant permission-seeking and exaggerated kindness are the heights of respect, while in reality they are merely masks for the fear of rejection. The man who asks, "Can I kiss you?" isn't looking for consent as much as he is looking for safety from the sting of being told no. This self-doubt is the poison that kills attraction in seconds. Stoicism teaches us that emotional discipline and self-sovereignty are the true magnets. A woman is not attracted to a man who asks for permission to be a leader. She is attracted to the man who embodies leadership in his silence, in his gaze, and in a presence that never apologizes for existing. The nature of feminine desire is silent. It does not follow the mathematical calculations of men who think that gifts and long dates are the price of admission to the heart. Desire is provoked, not requested, and it thrives on tension, mystery, and a rock-solid confidence that does not tremble in the face of silence. When you adopt a stoic mindset, you realize that your value is not derived from her reaction to you, but from your own internal equilibrium. The man who does not break if she ignores him and does not become agitated if she doesn't reply to a message sends a powerful message that he possesses a center of gravity unaffected by external winds. This type of non-reactivity isn't coldness, it is a strength that makes a woman wonder, who is this man who doesn't need my attention to feel his own existence? In that precise moment, the man stops being a follower and becomes the axis around which she begins to orbit, because human nature is naturally inclined to explore what it cannot easily control or predict. Your physical energy speaks much louder than your words. If you are hiding your desire behind the curtain of the nice guy for fear of appearing a certain way, you are practicing a form of self-deception that a woman senses as an inconsistent energy. Stoicism does not ask you to suppress your desires, but to domesticate them and bring them under your command. A real man is one who feels his desire fully, but is not enslaved by it. He is capable of looking a woman in the eyes with clarity and honest intent without shivering or seeking an evaluation. This stillness in the midst of the storm is what triggers deep attraction, because a woman instinctively looks for stability and clarity in a world full of hesitant men. When you master the art of presence and stop viewing silence as a void that must be filled with trivial chatter, you create a space of emotional pressure that pushes her to take the next step. The great secret is not in chasing the moment, but in cultivating the environment that makes the moment choose you. Ultimately, remember that self-mastery is the highest goal. When you build your life on a foundation of purpose, vision, and internal strength, attraction becomes a mere side effect of your powerful character, not a goal you chase in desperation. The man who is content with himself and his path is the man who sparks curiosity and longing, because he represents a model of strength that the masses lack. Do not be the man who begs for the charity of desire. Be the man who radiates it as a natural byproduct of his dignity and balance. To lead is to exist in a state of absolute certainty, even when the path ahead is shrouded in mist. In the realm of human connection, most men operate from a place of perpetual negotiation, constantly checking the horizon for a sign of approval that may never come. They ask for permission not because they are polite, but because they are terrified of the silence that follows a no. But the Stoic understands that the only thing truly within his control is his own intent and his own action. When you stop asking for permission to lead, you aren't being aggressive, you are being clear. A woman's desire is often a reflection of the clarity you project. If you are a man who waits for her to draw the map, to set the pace, and to give you a green light at every intersection, you are essentially asking her to take the masculine role. You are asking her to be the one who risks, and in doing so, you extinguish the very spark of attraction that thrives on the polarity of your strength against her receptivity. Leadership is not a loud or boisterous act. It is the quiet confidence of a man who knows where he is going. Imagine the scene so many men find themselves in, a moment of rising tension, a shared look that lingers a second too long, an invitation written in the subtext of the conversation. The average man feels this tension and panics. He tries to diffuse it with a question, asking, "Is this okay?" Or, "Do you want me to stay?" In that moment, he has handed her the burden of decision. He has forced her to move from her feelings into her analytical mind. And once a woman is forced to think about desire, the feeling of desire often vanishes. The Stoic man, however, remains grounded in the physical and emotional reality of the present. He moves with a deliberate, unhurried grace. He understands that his leadership is a gift of direction. If she chooses to stop the momentum, he accepts it with the same calm with which he initiated it. He does not collapse, he does not plead, and he does not take it as a blow to his ego. It is this very ability to lead without attachment to the outcome that makes his leadership irresistible. We must look at the concept of the nice guy through a philosophical lens to see why it fails so miserably. The nice guy is a man who uses kindness as a currency, hoping to buy intimacy with good behavior. This is a fundamental violation of Stoic integrity because it is a lie. True kindness is an end in itself. It does not expect a sexual reward. When a woman senses that your niceness is a strategy to get what you want without having to be vulnerable or direct, she feels manipulated. She senses the hidden contract you've signed in your head, and she rejects it because it lacks the raw honesty of masculine desire. Authenticity is the cornerstone of the Stoic character. A man who is honest about his desire, who carries it without shame and without the need to camouflage it in politeness, is a man who commands respect. He doesn't hide his intent, he masters it. He doesn't wait for her to discover his attraction, he allows her to feel it through his presence, his eye contact, and the unwavering nature of his attention. Consider the power of containment. In the modern world, everything is immediate, loud, and overshared. Men are taught to vent their feelings, to chase validation, and to react to every impulse. But there is a profound magnetism in the man who can contain his energy. Think of it as a reservoir of power behind a dam. The water is calm on the surface, but the pressure beneath is immense. When you are with a woman and you can sit in the silence of your own desire without feeling the need to beg for hers, you create a vacuum that she instinctively wants to fill. This is the masculine container. It is the ability to hold the space for tension to grow without breaking under the weight of your own insecurity. If you can stay centered while she tests your boundaries, if you can remain unruffled when she is distant, you prove that you are an anchor in her storm. This stability is the most potent aphrodisiac known to man, for it promises a depth of character that can weather any emotional season. Most men are too available, too predictable, and too easy to read. They give away their power because they believe that by showing her how much they need her, she will feel valued. But human nature dictates that we value what is rare and what is earned. The Stoic man is not playing a game of playing hard to get. He simply is hard to get because his life is full of purpose that does not involve her. He is focused on his own virtue, his own work, and his own growth. When he is with her, he is 100% present, but when he is not pining away or sending desperate messages. This independence creates a psychological mystery. She begins to wonder where she fits into his world, and that curiosity is the fertile soil in which desire grows. You do not need to tell her you are a high-value man, you simply need to live as one, and she will sense the difference in the very air between you. The final realization a man must face on this path is that desire is not a transaction, it is a resonance. In the Stoic view, we often suffer because we try to control things that are external to us, the feelings, thoughts, and responses of others. But the man who understands the nature of the soul knows that you cannot force a lock, you can only become the key. Let us be blunt. If you have to ask a woman for intimacy, you have already lost the essence of it. For when desire is requested, it ceases to be a fire and becomes a chore. It becomes an act of charity, a hollow gesture given to appease your neediness. The Stoic man rejects such charity. He does not want a woman to give him her body because he asked for it. He wants her to offer herself because his presence has made it impossible for her to do otherwise. This is the difference between a beggar and a king. To reach this state, you must embrace the philosophy of non-reactivity. We live in an age of emotional fragility, where men react to every blue light on a screen and every subtle shift in a woman's mood. If she is cold, they panic. If she is distant, they pursue. But in doing so, they prove they are not the masters of their own house. A man who is easily disturbed is a man who cannot be trusted with the weight of a woman's heart. Real masculine power is found in the stillness. When you can witness her silence, her games, or her indecision without losing your center, without getting angry, without getting anxious, you become a mountain. And the nature of the feminine is to seek the shelter of the mountain. By not reacting, you create a vacuum of mystery. She begins to wonder why her usual tools of control do not work on you, and in that wonder, the seed of deep primal attraction begins to take root. This brings us to the psychological art of space. Most men crowd a woman. They suffocate the spark with constant attention, fearing that if they step back, they will be forgotten. But the Stoic knows that absence is as important as presence. You must create the environment where she feels it was her decision to cross the line. This isn't about manipulation. It's about respecting the internal process of her desire. When you provide a safe, grounded, and sexually charged atmosphere without the pressure of a deadline, you allow her the freedom to choose. And when a woman feels she has chosen you of her own volition, not because you wore her down with persistence, but because she couldn't resist the pull of your energy, that desire becomes a wildfire that can last a lifetime. You provoke this not with words, but with the contained charge of your intent. You must stop viewing sex as a goal and start viewing it as a byproduct of your own excellence. If your life is empty, if you have no mission, no discipline, and no inner fortress, you will always project a sense of lack. You will look at a woman as the solution to your unhappiness, and she will smell that desperation from a mile away. But when you build yourself into a man of virtue, when you master your impulses and dedicate yourself to a higher purpose, you become magnetic. You no longer need to initiate in the traditional, clumsy sense. Your gaze, your tone, and the way you hold your silence will do the work for you. You are not here to adapt to her world. You are here to build a world so compelling that she wants to be a part of it. Brother, the path of the Stoic man is a lonely one at first, for it requires you to slay the part of yourself that craves validation. But once that part is dead, you are truly free. You become a man who does not beg for affection, who does not negotiate for love, and who does not settle for charity. You become a man who leads from a place of peace, and in that peace, you will find the most intense passion you have ever known. If these words have touched a truth you are trying to hide from yourself, perhaps it is time to change the lens through which you see the world. Subscribe to the channel and join this journey to build a man who doesn't need to shout to be heard or chase to be noticed. Hit the like button to be part of this community striving to rise above weakness and confusion. I'll see you in the comments to discuss how you will start reclaiming your center of gravity today.